Hello, everybody. Welcome to Istanbul in Turkey for round 2 of Formula Sprint 2 in 2025. Will it be Turkish delight once again for Junior Lopez and Domenico Scarpelli, or will it be a different victor this time round? I'm joined by Alex Foulkes, who I'm sure will have thoroughly enjoyed my dessert joke. We're not in the desert. We're in Europe, but also Asia. Welcome, Alex.
Yes, Eurasia, and hopefully the race will be slightly better than Turkish Delight is. Not my favourite, I must say. I don't think it's really anyone's favourite, and if it is, they're lying. So, anyway, yeah, Istanbul Park. It's a very interesting circuit, and one of the first Tilkodromes, as they're called, but also one of the more interesting ones out of all of them, it must be said. Probably a lot better than the Jeddah, which it would I don't think it's replacing. I think we're still going there this year, but round 2 last year was Jeddah, I believe, or maybe it was 2023. Right. So yeah, should be a more interesting race this time around. Of course, we had it in Academy 2 years ago, and I think last year as well. So yeah, it's provided some interesting racing for those series. Let's see what it provides for FS2.
Absolutely. Well, we have seen an interesting round 1, of course. There's always chaos in Formula Sprint 2, and round 1 certainly didn't disappoint. We had Junior Lopez taking victory in the first race, where he converted his pole position into a dominant victory, and Sandeep Singh and Amari Watson followed him home, both getting strong starts to their season. I was very interested to see that Sandeep Singh didn't capitalise on his strong race 1 with a race 2 loss of front wing. Certainly had him down as a championship challenger this season. What caught your eye at Melbourne last time out, Alex?
Well, before the Academy cars both fell back due to unrelated incidents, I think one of the Academy cars last time out retired. The 2 Academy drivers that we had last time of Shinaglia and Mauro Tizzoli, they were both very strong drivers, one of which in race 2, and that would have been Andrea Shinaglia, who was leading at some point in race 2, who's moved to Blue Horns for this race, as I believe Philip Savinsky's wheel has stopped working, and he's replacing him. So yeah, I think the Academy drivers last time out had a great performance for their inaugural races in FS2. So hopefully we'll see a similar performance for the Academy drivers this time around.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's great to see the Academy drivers from last time getting, or at least having an opportunity to race in an actual team for this round. And that's exactly what it's there for, the Academy team. And of course, if you're new to GPVWC as a whole, this is maybe this is one of your first times watching a broadcast. Welcome. You can race in the Academy series. It's pretty much free to anyone to race, so you can sign up and race for that. The next one is here as well at Turkey next Monday, and it is the entry level to our to the career that you can have here at GPVWC. Formula Sprint 2, though, the first organised by teams championship, if you like, with a full 16-round calendar. This is, of course, round 2. There is a championship for this level. And the results for which you can see on our website, gpvwc.com, and you can check out all of the different series if you navigate to the competitions tab at the top and look at, particularly today we're looking at Formula Sprint 2, and the standings for the championship right now. Junior Lopez had a first place in race 1 at Australia and a third in race 2. He tops the charts, and you'd have to say, based on the race view result from practice, which you can check out on www.race-view.com. It's going to be a very tight affair again. Kasper Koritz was topping the timesheets in practice. We've just seen the end of that session, and Koritz out on track along with everybody else in a private qualifying session, which means that they're all simultaneously driving on the circuit, but they cannot see one another. They can't be interfered with by slipstreams, that sort of thing. It is everyone's effectively in a parallel universe at the same time, which is a kind of cool way that GPVWC does it to ensure that it's kind of fair in qualifying. We're watching Craig Patterson, and he had a poor opening round, didn't he, Alex? And probably will wish to do a little bit better this time out.
Yeah, point scoring I wouldn't say is poor, but definitely not where Craig wants to be at this point in the season. Very strong contender last year, but also you have to admit at the top of the series we've got a few more experienced drivers coming from different series, higher series. Mentionably, Sandeep Singh coming from Superlights last season and Amari Watson coming from FS1. But yeah, Kasper Kuritz in that new livery. I say new livery. Well, it basically is a new livery for that reading game team. They've spent quite a bit of time updating. I want to say helping out a little bit along the way. And yeah, they've got a nice looking car this time around for round 2. And the updates, I must say, quite impressed. But here we go then. The first couple of laps about to start for the drivers. Craig Patterson, I think, was the first of everyone to cross the line who we were following. And that priority 1 car through sector 1, through turn 3 now, or heading towards turn 3. Bit of a difficult one, through the right-hander, through the braking zone, and then into another challenging braking zone, It's all a quite difficult technical section here. Mostly of 90-degree corners, but it keeps the speed up, and the braking is quite difficult as we go into this hairpin, not a hairpin kind of corner uphill.
Yeah, it's a very technical first sector, but the track really opens out in the second sector. We've just gone through the first sector split. Patterson, as everyone, will be currently setting purple sectors on their own dash because no times have been set. This is the famous turn 8. It's a multi-apex left-hander where you really have to balance the throttle, front right tyre scrub. It's not completely flat in most of the series that we'll watch today. We don't have sound on our broadcast pictures, but Craig absolutely burying the throttle on the exit. You could tell from the way the car was handling. That's the sector 2 split, and right now Amari Watson has set 2 purple sectors for himself, and that is de facto. That's on our race view page I'm watching, but Patterson a few tenths off. But we'll look at the final sector as well. It's effectively a long straight followed by 3 hairpins, and that is what you're looking at. Here's the second hairpin, and then the final corner, which is critical in the race for setting up an opportunity down into turn 1. Patterson exits the final corner and crosses the line, which comes up very, very quickly. There it is, and sets a 144.1, which, as the times come in, is not his best. It sets him right now at 12th position. As the times come in, he'll drop further down, I'd imagine. There he goes to 13th. But Amari Watson indeed did set the best lap in that opening salvo of lap times. Here's Van der Smissen, who's on a slightly different counter strategy and is hasn't set a lap time yet, is on a lap now.
Interestingly, out of everyone, Sandeep Singh has a significantly faster final sector. 8 tenths between himself and Omari Watson in that last sector alone. Singh setting a 26.7. Omari Watson setting a 27.5. That's a pretty significant difference. But Omari Watson just more consistent in those first 2 sectors. They have similar top speeds around the circuit, so it isn't a setup difference.
No, I think it's... Yeah, I think it's a bug in the... I think there's a bit of a desync there because his middle sector is also a second off. So I think that's erroneous. But we'll see. But I think that's erroneous because the only way that would be possible is if you had like 8 kilometers more in a straight line through that final sector. It's a very long straight, so potentially could be erroneous. Let's just keep an eye on that. But Amari Watson indeed topping the timesheets. It's a good spot, Alex, but I think the difference in split there, it indicates to me maybe a bit of a desync.
Yeah, I would say so too. Looking at the fastest sectors from practice, it was a 27.7 to a 27.5. In practice, that 26 doesn't seem quite right. And we've already topped the fastest laps of practice as well. A 43.5 in practice was set by Kasper Kuritz, so Mari Watson going 2 tenths faster already in qualifying as we're watching Justin van der Smissen. One of the few drivers that opted for a second lap out after their first hot lap. And here we go through turn 3. It's a bit of a slide, and I would imagine that's an aborted lap at this point for van der Smissen. Oh, it looks like he's continuing through the technical first sector. But last time around, it was a 38.724. We'll see how much that mistake has cost him, and it's just over a second. So yeah, this would be an aborted lap.
Yeah, indeed. He's. I think a lot of people are not getting 2 laps out of the tyres here. Probably because of the extreme front right wear that you get at Turkey, especially from this corner that Van der Smithsen's going through turn 8. It cries for help by the time you get to the final part of it. It's going to be a battle for all of the series that we watch over the next how many days is it? 9. Over the next 9 days, you've got 5 series competing at Turkey, and it's going to be tricky for them to keep that front right tyre in check. Yunus Karala has not set a competitive lap time yet. He has just gone through the first sector, and he's 6/10 or best part of 6/10 off the pace of the leading driver. So Karala has some work to do. That Priority 1 Esports car looking very good in the early 80s Williams livery. I noticed that Patterson has the Juan Pablo Montoya helmet. I'm not sure Karala has a special dedicated Williams helmet, but certainly keep an eye out on. I do like Patterson's Williams nod retro liveries that he uses. Is cracking stuff from my point of view. Who have we got on a fast lap right now? I think everyone's pretty much on out laps, having boxed just now. I noticed Sandeep Singh is still in the pit lane, so not sure if he's just waiting potentially for the rubber to build up. Something you mentioned about practice, Alex, is that the times are a bit slower. Some of that will be because as the cars circulate on the track, the conditions do improve, more rubber gets laid down, and the time should tumble.
Theoretically, yes, but there is also the chance of varying track conditions other than the grip, such as temperature. It doesn't seem to happen that much in R-Factor 2, but I have seen it happen before, and the temperature can certainly affect some lap times, especially, like you say, with the tyre wear through that triple apex left-hander of turn 8. It can really, really hurt the tyres more than you would expect. Of course, the friction throughout the entire time is heating up that outside right tyre and just bringing that temperature up, and eventually you'll lose grip at some point. So yeah, it can be quite difficult to manage as Yunus Lopez goes purple in Sector 1 with a 38.486 and heading through the second sector towards the end of the second sector now. We'll see if he is able to hold on to this improvement to his lap as we cross the second sector split, and it is a personal best improvement of a 37.275. 3 more corners to go for Yunus Lopez, and let's see if he can improve his position from P7 potentially here to provisional pole. 1 more hairpin to navigate for Yunus Lopez, and nicely touching both of those curbs. And I was about to say DRS open, no DRS in this series. Cross the line, not able to improve too many positions. Up to P5, Yunus Lopez of 43.609 as Michael Falkenhayn sets a purple sector 2.
Yeah, Falkenhayn is certainly one to watch over the course of the season. He definitely is capable of producing some good results, I would say, in that kind of Renault-esque livery from a few years ago. As he boxes, actually, so deciding that this lap is not going to be an improvement. You mentioned the weather. It is 10 degrees right now in Istanbul, so we have quite a low track temperature compared to what we saw at Australia, which was much higher temperatures. Now we are looking at 10 degrees ambient, track temperature 37 degrees Celsius, and there's rain on the radar as well. It can be a bit random, the weather this time of year in Istanbul. It's 7 degrees today in Istanbul, 7 to 10 degrees. It's going to be 19 and then 21 on Monday and Tuesday next week for Academy and Superlight. So keep an eye out on the changing weather over the next few days.
Yes, I think we can all remember the one time in 2021 when F1 visited Turkey and the varying conditions we had then. It would be quite interesting to see if we got something like that today. Hopefully, with a little more grip as Zahentahevich. Oh my Jesus. Zahentahevich invalidates his lap time through turn 1, going all 4 wheels outside the racing surface, which is defined as anything that's black and anything that's black and red. Not black and red, white and red. Painted, essentially. And he went all 4 wheels off onto the AstroTurf, invalidating his lap down in P31. Sandeep Singh did improve in the second sector, a purple second sector, and crosses the line to move up to P2, 43.408, 0.104 away from Omari Watson. That initial time still standing the test of all the other drivers.
Question for you, black or red? If you were at the casino, what would you put all of your money on at the roulette table?
It was oddly fitting that the camera switched to Team RNG as you said that.
Black or red?
You have to go all in on red. This is the
We're
strategy.
all in on red. Ooh.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, don't gamble, by the way.
Don't gamble. Terrible
don't
idea.
Gamble. Gambling is terrible.
But it's a 50% chance to 150% your money. So
it's not because of the green, because of the zero. They got green sitting there. That's why the house always wins, Alex. Unfortunately,
this is true.
That's how I feel about the leaks in my windows at the moment, to be honest. Manamanakandan crossing the line. What do you mean? The house always wins. Every time I spend money on it, there's more money to spend.
That is true.
Don't buy a house. Rent and get your landlord to pay.
Yes, rent and get your landlord to pay into a light
This has been terrible financial advice in qualifying so far. Lorenzo Turi crosses the line. P8 for the Academy driver. That's good stuff. And his teammate Terzulli, I need to get my Italian fingers out again, is P11 currently, matching Karatko in P10. Some interesting drivers in the top 10, actually. We've discussed some of them, but nice to see Florian Haase up there in P7. Definitely a good position for him to be in. James Knox had some very good pace at Melbourne. Fell foul of the drive-through penalties for track limit extensions. I noticed in Super League some of those got removed during the race, which was very interesting. You could only kind of get drive-throughs removed if you were kind of pushed out or were in on-track battles, I think. Or rather, if you ask for them to be removed and it's not the case that you were pushed off track, then they will be reinstated. But in Melbourne, no such luck for the Formula Sprint 2 drivers, especially James Knox, who got a drive-through penalty on the very last lap. The track limits there were very tight. You had to kind of push the boundaries. Here, not so much. It's a Tilkedrome, as you mentioned, and it's a nice wide open field that they're driving in, to be fair, and the runoff areas are ridiculous, as with every Tilkedrome. No crazy walls next to the track, as Vicentijevic comes across the start-finish line, and he does 29th position with a 1:43.304. Ben Skinner in P14. Yeah, sorry, thank you. Glad you're here. Reading the wrong number out. We'll just move on. Ben Skinner, the reason I brought up the red or black is, as you say, the RNG livery came on screen. And he is coming through the final sector now. He's actually really competitive on this lap so far. He's only a couple of tenths off. That would put him in the top 4 or 5 if he can get a decent final sector, Alex, as he comes through the final corner.
Yeah, Ben Skinner was having some good performances last season. Let's see if he can keep a bit more momentum this time around. Moves up to P10. That's still not bad when you consider all the way up to P24. And just beyond that as well, 1.2 seconds separate the top 27 around Turkey, and that is not something you see often. Here's the pole sitter's teammate, Simon Kanda, who's also looking quite competitive with point plus 143, moves up to P16, gets himself onto that main leaderboard for Orbit Motorsports, just starting outside the points as we move into the dying seconds of qualifying. Kanda's going to go for a second lap. Here's Omari Watson, who has gone purple in the second sector, but is down nearly 2 tenths in the first. Let's see if he's able to bring it back in the final sector. No more laps for Omari Watson, so this is last opportunity to improve that provisional pole time, and is unable to do so. Sandeep Singh won't be setting another lap time. Falkenhayn, Kuretz, and Lopez all still out on track. Falkenhayn with a purple sector 2 through the final couple of corners now. 3 more to go. Let's see if he will be able to steal pole position away from the clutches of Omari Watson.
Yes, I think looking at the final sector that he's driven so far, I don't think that's going to happen. Unfortunately for Falkenhayn, he's really trying his best, but it's not going to happen for him. And he, in fact, doesn't even improve his own lap time. Still P3 for him. But I don't think anyone is on a decent enough lap to be able to improve. You know, Florian Haase here is coming through the final part of the middle sector, about to head onto the very long back straight, which we will see as the main overtaking opportunity. 2 green sectors for Haza. He's less than a tenth off pole, so a good final sector could even put him in danger of taking that pole position off Amari Watson, but he'll be looking to improve to the top 5 if he can. It's been a tidy lap so far, a little bit wide on the corner entry to the third to last corner, through the penultimate corner into the final corner, through that on the exit. Can he improve his position? Crosses the line now. Yeah, it was just a little bit wide through the first part of that sequence in the final sector. Unfortunately for him, doesn't improve. Tatsoli is set 2 good sectors. Can he improve? P5 for the Academy driver. Good job.
Yeah, Magnus Ockenhaug as well at the end there, sneaking up to P7, taking Florian Haas's position. He was around P10 before that, so that's good for Ockenhaug as well, starting 3 positions up from where he otherwise would have been. But it looks to be that, like, that's the final qualifying order then, is what it is on your screen, with Amari Watson taking pole for race 1 in Istanbul.
Some interesting results from that. Race 2 winner from Australia, Domenico Scapelli, 24th place. Didn't even make it onto the timing tower. So shows how competitive this league has become, actually, as an overall pace competition. Because, yeah, as you say, I mean, top 25 drivers covered by less than a second. I know Turkey is not particularly got the skill ceiling that Australia does. I mean, Australia is very tricky to drive, but yeah, that's a very competitive grid, and shows that I think we'll get some close racing in race 1 and race 2. It's not going to be the walkover that Junior Lopez had in race 1 at Australia. So yeah, end of qualifying then. Let's have a little look at the overall results. When Fabian can bring it up. There we go. Yeah, so Amari Watson takes pole position, as we mentioned. Sandeep Singh, P2. Mikhail Falkenhayn in P3, with Kasper Koritz in P4. Mauro Tazzoli in P5, with Junior Lopez in P6. Magnus Ockenhaug in 7th place, with Florian Haza in 8th. Lorenzo Turi in 9th, with Brody Lawless in 10th position. 11th goes to Ben Skinner, with Damir Koratko in 12th position. James Knox in 13th, with Joe Gillette in 14th. Samui Slavev in 15th place. Shimon Kanda in 16th place, racing under the Polish flag, I've just been told, instead of the UK flag for this one. Mikhail Tuamala in 17th place, Jonas Kaurala 18th, Craig Patterson 19th, and Thijs Youngstra in 20th position. David de Prix in 21st, Justin van der Schmissen in 22nd, Josh Flynn, Domenico Scapelli, Bobby Vakunov, Andrea Chinaya, Johannes Leppert, Charlotte Menink, Manu Manakandan, Caitlin Penny, whose birthday it was yesterday, happy birthday, in 30th place. And finally on the grid, we have Mihajlo Vicentijevic in 31st position. Warm-up time, Alex. My favourite segment of the Formula Sprint 2 broadcasts. Now, it's time to go onto YouTube chat, which is one of my favourite activities to do.
Can I just preface this with one little thing?
Yes, what is the little thing?
The official directive issued by one Toby Davis at the start of this season. Warm up. This can be anything you like, no breaks, but you want to talk about qualifying predictions for the race.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I was going to mention. Well, we talked about biscuits.
Yes. Did we do that last time? I don't think.
No, but we have just. I mean, we have definitely. You know, we need to stay a bit more on topic if we can try our best.
No, we don't.
Do we not?
No. This is.
I mean, it's my own directive. I really should follow my own directive, right?
It is. It is your own directive. Yeah.
All right. Well, what did you think about qualifying, Alex?
Cars went around a track and an order for the race was set, and that was interesting.
I agree.
That's qualifying covered. Now we can go on to the interesting stuff.
So I was going to ask you, do you have any pets?
Yes, I have 4 cats.
So what are their names?
I have Clover, I have Lucy, I have Loki, and I have Scrappy.
Scrappy?
Yes, he's the 17-year-old cat named after the
Oh.
Scooby-Doo character. Big fat black cat, fluffy as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, of course. That's the best way to have a
Naturally.
cat.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have 2 cats now.
Yes.
So you will know this if you followed along some broadcasts previously, but I've got one cat called Petal, who I've had since 2019. She's very lovely and can be irritating, especially during the broadcasts. I do also
May
have
have
now...
heard.
Yes, I have a smaller cat called Daisy, who is... I say smaller, she's little. And little in age. Which my girlfriend and I bought last year as a kitten, and she has white paws. You may have seen her on the podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago, myself and Carlos Martin and Caitlin Penny, and she is currently downstairs irritating my girlfriend, so I'm grateful for that. But I want to know, in the YouTube chat, what is your pets? Like, what pets do you have? Do you have a bear in your garden? A couple of horses? Or
bear
2
is
hamsters and a turtle? You know, let me know.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting conversation. I was about to ask, when are we having an FS2 podcast? But then I slowly realized that's literally every race broadcaster we do.
Yeah, but that's half the fun. That's why I turn up, mate.
Exactly,
You gotta
exactly.
Gotta keep it fun. Otherwise,
We-
there's no point, is there?
If you're actually here for the racing, are you even watching FS2?
Well, I mean, yeah. It's
Yeah.
FS2 is certainly watchable.
It's watchable. Little sisters do not count as pets. I just need to
No.
clarify this.
No. But thanks for that. A golden retriever called Sandy. Very nice. I used to have a golden retriever. I had 2 growing up. One called Rosie, which was my mother's, and one... Well, they were both my mother's, but one called Rosie and one called Sophie. Yeah. They were very difficult to differentiate, and they also... we had Sophie in... I'm so old, but in 1997 we got Sophie. And, of course, when you called one of their names, I think the other one sounded quite similar, so they both kind of came. So, not ideal. 7-year-old dog called Bella. Very annoying, probably stupid. A stray cat that showed up at our door in November, now living in the home. He's orange, very clingy and cuddly. You need to give it a name. I'm just...
Bella. Oh.
7-year-old
no, the
dog
cat.
and a stray
Yeah.
cat. Yes, I read it.
Oh, I sort of combined the probably stupid and orange cat part.
Oh, very
So-
likely. Yeah, 100%. Then
Yeah.
nutcases. We had one called Frisbee. Because she got zoomies and just used to launch herself around the building.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the cats are my favourite by a long way. I'm glad you have 4, Alex. Honestly, if I was allowed, I would probably have about 10. But,
In this economy? I just wanted it to be known I took a very big sip of drink before saying that.
What's your drink of poison, Alex? What are you drinking right now? Water.
Water.
Probably. Water.
Yes.
Knew it. You're such a water guy. You couldn't be.
Yes.
If I was gonna put you in so there are categories for people that drink stuff, right? So you have people
Right.
that drink squash.
Weirdos.
Yeah, strange. People who drink water, perfectly acceptable drink. Just a bit on the level, you know. The sort of people that wait in line for a bus, you know. And then you have people who drink make your own energy drinks out of like a fizzy tap thing that they bought on eBay that you plug a thing in and you go and you got like blueberry, raspberry energy drink stuff. They're the sort of people that would also skateboard, you know. Do you know what I'm saying? That's that category. I feel like the sort of people that like unironically watch the entire live stream of X Games.
I don't think I've ever even seen a clip of X Games, let alone...
Oh, surely you've seen Colin McRae roll and then carry on.
Oh, okay. If that's X Games, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's like racing fan 101. You have to know who Colin McRae is. You have to see like 7 of his clips of him rolling over in the exact same fashion every single time.
My favourite one is like an onboard from the 2001 Great Britain Rally where he's fully sending it, and all he needs to do is finish to win the championship, right? And he's fully sending it on a couple of like special stages, miles in the lead, and then rolls and like takes himself out of the championship. It means he can't win the championship. Like, why would you do that? It's not like he didn't know how to win a championship. He won one in 1996 as well. But then in 2001 in the full Foulkes, like first proper opportunity for Ford to win in ages, just like YOLOs it and crashes into a rock or something. It's strange. He was full send everywhere. Absolutely bonkers, that bloke.
Mental, yes. Chris Philo is asking for us to start drinking alcohol mid-broadcast.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
No, that would have to be a members only thing.
No, yeah. It would devolve into unprofessionalism, which I don't think is good for Formula Sprint 2. It's got to stay professional all the time. Speak of the devil, here's
hear
Petal.
the grin behind that statement.
Petal's come to irritate me instead.
Oh, lovely.
Colin wanted 95, did he? Now I'm interested.
1995 World.
Ah, my bad. Sorry.
You're right, 96 was won by
Mäkinen, right? Therefore. So yeah. Sorry, my bad.
It is your bad, but I'm going to ignore the fact that I didn't know or correct you.
He won the. Who won the 2001 World Rally Championship then?
You asking me? Like,
No, just
me Google
generally.
that
Yeah,
for you.
I'm asking YouTube chat. I know you won't know.
well, Google.
Yeah, I'm googled it now. Richard Burns, true. But that is the rally that McRae just like crashed out of, the 2001 rally. And yeah, he hired special stage 4 due to an accident. Only 4 stages in. Having won the first 2 stages. What a plonker. How long's left to warm up? 39 seconds. Right, let's get our Formula Sprint 2 heads back on. So, we've been watching the onboards here, looking back from various cars, but the Istanbul Park is, as you can see, a very open, flowing, upsy-downsy, gradienty track. And as you say, one of the better Tilkedromes. Look at that. Oh, Travis Pastrana would be
beautiful.
proud. Full send throughout the whole thing.
Get this man a Red Bull contract.
Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, what's your favourite Tilkedrome? Is it this?
It would hurt people if I said Sochi, so I'm not going to say Sochi.
Sochi doesn't.
I love driving on Sochi.
But
Sochi is nice to drive, but to race, it's horrible.
It's also
It's
based
fun
in
to
the
drive.
worst country in the world, isn't it? So
Okay. If we isolate all of the factors, that layout is the most fun, in my opinion. To drive. And then it has to be. I dislike Malaysia, so then it would have to be Turkey,
Yep.
and then China,
Yep.
and then Qatar, and then Jeddah, and then Malaysia.
What about the Valencia street track?
That doesn't even count.
Do you want an underrated one? India.
I feel like most people forget that India, the Indian Grand Prix even exists.
What was it, like 3 years? 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, like
3?
2011?
12? Yeah, 2011.
2013? 3 seasons?
I think 3. I want to say 3. But we had it in a couple of seasons ago, 2021 maybe in GPV. I really liked that track. It was really cool. Especially the kind of toward the end of that, he kind of copied it for Circuit of the Americas or vice versa. I think Yeah, I think Kota is very good as well. Especially the first sector. I think that's really, really good. It's almost like it's almost the reverse of Suzuka, you know, or rather the other way round from Suzuka. It's cool.
I'm just going to Google Tilka tracks and make sure we haven't missed any.
True. Have we missed an important one? The first one he did, I think, was the Hockenheim abomination, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did do the new Hockenheim with the back straight and the...
Yeah,
He did Baku.
Well, doesn't really count. Can't really do much for that, can you? It's just drawing them, finding
it's
streets
just
on
kind
them. Yeah.
It's not a good track.
Did you do Red
be
Bull
honest.
Ring?
No.
No, well, maybe.
Okay, I'm on the Tilka
He did,
official
yeah.
website.
He did. He designed
He
a
did
one
Red
ring
Bull
from
Ring.
Österreich, yeah, to shorten it. That's cool. I had no idea.
Well, that's a good track that he's done.
Yeah, I'll tell you that one for sure.
He did Losail. That explains a lot.
Yeah, but then you also have Abu Dhabi. Like the OG layout of Abu Dhabi is shocking.
And the new one, I honestly don't like either.
No. Bahrain's okay.
Yeah.
Las
Las Vegas.
Yeah, doesn't count. Just drawing
Miami,
lines on a map.
It's on a car park, so it kind of counts. Like, it's a bit of freedom. It's just not good.
I think honestly, I think Malaysia's up there though, dude. I know you don't like it.
He did.
Oh, Dubai's on
Mexico?
there. Dubai, true. Dubai. Right, race time.
Yes, finally.
Finally.
I mean, Malaysia is a great track apart from that final sector.
You don't like the final sector? I like the final, especially the final corner. I like the different lines you can take into there and stuff.
I just dislike the run up to the final corner. You know, the
Lightning corner.
weird, twisty, tightening bit that isn't really that interesting, and it's just.
I kind of think there's a high skill involved in a curved braking zone, though. I always struggle, for example, because I'm not that good. I always struggled with the penultimate corner at Snetterton in real life, you know, because you've got to balance the front end whilst braking and then get it in for the final left-hander. But it's called something else now. It used to be called the Russell chicane, I think. Is that right? I don't know. The grid. It's your turn, Alex.
Yes, my turn. The grid.
Snetterton corner names.
Voila.
Go for it.
Omari Watson takes pole with Sandeep Singh alongside him in second. Michael Falkenhayn lines up third for Macevo with Kasper Kuritz in P4 behind him. Mauro Tizzoli lines up P5 for GPVWC Academy with Junio Lopez behind him. Magnus Ockenhaug 7th with Florian Haase first of the Blue Horns in P8. Lorenzo Chiri, the second GPVWC Academy car in P9 with Brody Lawless P10. Ben Skinner for Team RNG P11 and Damir Karatko in P12. P13 James Knox with Joe Gillette behind him. Samil Slamev lines up P15 for Maxwell and Simon Kanda lines up P16. On the 9th row is Mikael Tuomala and Jonas Kerala with Craig Patterson and Tice Youngstra behind them on the 10th row. Next up is the two VMS cars, David DeVries and Justin van der Smissen, 21st and 22nd, with Josh Flynn and Domenico Scarpelli lining up behind them. Next up, Bobby Vakanov and Andrea Shinaglia with Hans Lippitt and Charlotte Menink, 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. 29th is Manamanakandan with Caitlin Penny lining up P30 behind him, and Mihailo Vzendevich lines up last out of all the drivers in P31 for ST Racing, and I'm just going to ignore your laughter, Toby.
I'm sorry, I also was sipping water at the time. Poor Vesentievich. It's quite easy to say Vesentievich. It's just you struggle every time.
My brain can't comprehend that it's a word that you can say. Craig Patterson's
Mihailo
apparently.
Vesentievich.
Vesentievich. It's not hard.
No, not Havich. Vesentievich.
Yevich? No.
Vicentijevic. A halo Vicentijevic.
Patterson starting from the pit lane where Park Ferme reset. Interesting.
Huh. Why? What does he
Who
know?
knows?
Does he think the weather's going to change? I mean, there is rain on the radar. We haven't talked about it much because it hasn't actually rained. There is the car of Vicentijevic. What would you change? Wings, presumably. Oh, but he might be trying to avoid lap 1 incident. That's also a possibility in Formula Sprint 2.
That's very valid for turn 1. Very valid.
Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fumph. Lights. Out. Go. Amari Watson gets away well. Covers across on Sandeep Singh and takes the position down into turn 1. Falconine slots into P3 ahead of Koritz. They're side by side though, with Koritz looking to take the position from Falconine. Looks like he's done so. So far, no dramas as we go round to turn 2 and head up the hill towards the left-hander at the top. And still, we're looking pretty clean as Lopez is P6. Little tap from Tazzoli on the back of Falconine there, but gets away with it as they go 3 wide. This is dangerous as they turn into the left-hander. It tightens on the exit, and Haza is the one who has dropped back as a result of that, and they're going to go 3 wide into the right-hander here as well. There's some positions being made here. Ben Skinner, I think that is, up the inside of Turi into 9th position. Otherwise, pretty clean so far, Alex, as we go into the infamous turn 8.
Yeah, Turi has been pushed back a little bit off the corner, and we're 2 wide. The 2 rows here through turn 8. That's quickly settled down now into single file, but we're quite close here as we head into turn 9. 2 wide, 3 wide almost behind as Van der Smissen tries to go up the inside of Michael Tuamala and does get it done. Moves up to P16, but here's Hasa under pressure from Simon Kanda for P14. Kanda on the outside as we head into the final 3 corners, and just behind them is Van der Smissen and Tuamala. They are 4 wide into the final corner. Kanda thinks better of it, Hasa thinks better of it, and somehow Tuamala and Van der Smissen have got around, but there's contact, and Hasa's being pushed into the pit lane. And down the inside, this is some close racing, and Haza falling back once more,
Florian.
and his suspension is absolutely ruined.
Florian Haza has been extremely badly bullied on this opening lap. Poor Florian. He needs to back out of that one. He is not going to make it to the end. 3 wide here. Brody Lawless, the meat in a sandwich of Tazzoli and Alkanaug, and he backs off sensibly in that very beautiful Region Game livery. I agree. You've done a good job there, Alex, as down the inside goes. I think that was Knox. That was a very ambitious move just behind them. Side by side, Lopez with Tazzoli, who has had a cracking start to this race. Lopez, our championship leader, struggling a little bit. The top 3 have broken away from this gaggle, and it's still Amari Watson leading from Sandeep Singh and Kasper Koritz, but Junior Lopez in P4 looking to recover some of that gap. As once again we go into turn 8, this is going to be a relentlessly fast race in comparison to Australia. There's a very high top speed on the back straight through this through the lap, and it's a 15 lap race as well. Keep an eye on that ticking away. It'll be gone before we've even really started. But Falkenheim back in P10, definitely a loser on that opening lap. I don't mean you're a loser, Falkenheim, I mean you've lost positions. And we also saw Florian Asa unfortunately dropping back, and he, I suspect, will either pit for damage repair there or call it a day. Lopez then battling away here with who is that? That's Tazzoli going around the outside of him, and Brody Lawless is P4. So I didn't see that one happen on that lap. He must have made a good move there.
Yeah, up from P10. This is a great start for Reading Game here. Lawless up to P4. His teammate in P3. Ockenhau tries to remove on the Academy car into turn 1. Just not enough brakes to get it done into the fast left-hander as we head through turn 2 into turn 3. For the first time in a while, it looks to be single file. We're going to yellow in sector 1. That hasn't lasted very long as Ben Skinner has moved up to P8 from P13. Karatko goes wide, mainly I think due to his own doing, but there's a bit of contact here with Joe Gillette. He's pushed wide and that's going to affect his exit significantly here. Van der Smissen might have a run into turn 7, but no, Joe Gillette tries to the inside of Dame Karatko, isn't able to get the speed to do so, and is now under threat from Van der Smissen on the inside into turn 8, side by side, as Van der Smissen flat out on the inside of the corner does seem to have a slight advantage over Gillette here, but Gillette with the faster straight line speed. Van der Smissen now under attack from Tuomala on the outside. He'll have to be late on the brakes, and it is not late enough, or not possible to be late enough in that cap clay car. Van der Smissen holds on to P13, is unable to take P12 from Joe Gillette.
Van der Smissen is definitely one of those drivers that you could see picking up some positions over the course of the race. He definitely has the pace to be able to do so. It's just whether or not he will get through the pack as he goes inside 2 cars at once. Tuomala, who had a pretty rough opening round compared to Lopez, to be honest. Unfortunate victim of Van der Smissen there. It was very tight as they went 3 wide into that corner. Van der Smissen overtaking Joe Gillette at the same time as Tuomala, so a double overtake in 1 corner for him. Omari Watson has not shaken off Sandeep Singh, and certainly Casper Koritz is within touching distance. So this 3 at the front, keep an eye on this. This could be one that shapes up nicely as Tozzoli nearly tags the back of Ben Skinner. Tozzoli's dropped a couple of positions now. Skinner moves ahead of him, I believe, in the last few corners. We missed that one, but Ben Skinner P7 now for him, and Ockenhaug for Hunter Birch P6. So and he's right behind Junior Lopez as well. So yeah, plenty to fight for in the middle pack. I say right behind, he's directly behind but not right behind. But Brody Lawless currently P4, as you say, up a few positions on the grid, definitely improving. As we have gone on through the seasons, he's definitely more of a challenger than he used to be.
Yeah, and the 2 Academy cars on track right next to each other now, and they have Ben Skinner in their sights up ahead in the Team RNG car. But at the front, Sandeep Singh slowly closing that gap to Omari Watson. It starts to be in the slipstream range around about now, and like you say, close battling in the middle of the pack. Junior Lopez gets past Brody Lawless into the braking zone, into the final section of the track, but Lawless will have a run into turn 1 here with the slipstream a bit out wide, but could potentially get back past here, but just doesn't have the pace from the slipstream. As it looks to the inside, fills the mirrors, but just cannot get close enough to Lopez. Lopez sets the fastest lap at 43.789, and now for Lopez, I would imagine he's not going to focus too much about what's behind him. We'll focus more on catching up to Casper Koritz in P3.
Yeah, and Brody Lawless has kind of almost let him through there. We'll probably be hoping that he can drag himself further up the grid as well. But Lawless, as you say, up 5 positions from P10. And there's some other interesting drivers that have dropped further back as well. Falkenhayn down to P16, and hopefully Fabian shows us the positions gains lost graph, which would be nice to see. But yeah, there we go. So 13 places lost for Falkenhayn. Van der Smissen up 10, Lawless up 5, the drivers we were talking about. Kanaya as well has had a good start to he's now P19, up 7 from the start. And Florian Haase, the main loser, unfortunately for him, so far today.
Yeah, that first lap was just not kind to the Blue Horns. For Chinaglia, it's not that bad up in P19, but it has to be said for Florian Haase, that just wasn't really fair, that whole first lap. I mean, he was just sort of passed around between different cars and damaged in various different ways. That's unfortunately what happens. Tozzoli moves to the outside here on Ben Skinner, late on the brakes. Both of them side by side still. And Tozzoli will have the inside into the penultimate corner. There's contact between Tozzoli. Holds on, however, and does have the better exit now on Ben Skinner heading into turn 1. They're side by side down the main straight, but Tozzoli just not able to get that much of an overspeed. Same gap as he was, but late on the brakes into turn 1, but not late enough. Barely avoids contact with Ben Skinner.
Great racing, though, from both of them. Gave each other enough room down that pit straight. Ben Skinner should have moved across much sooner on the start-finish straight to block that inside line. He surely will have known that that was never, or rather that as soon as you block that, it's gonna stop Tozzoli trying down the inside. But nevertheless, gave him room on the apex, and they both got through absolutely fine. Lopez has set 2 very quick laps in a row, a couple of tenths faster than the leaders. There's plenty enough time for him to be able to catch up. Actually, he only needs 3 tenths a lap to do so, and obviously as soon as you get the slipstream, that will exponentially get better for him. But Sandeep Singh still playing the longer game with Omari Watson, potentially using that slipstream to look after his tyres a little bit, which is something you can do in these series, and potentially attack him later in the race if he can. But the field has settled down just a little bit. It's almost like, everyone's playing the kind of longer game right now, Alex.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of perfect time to have a look back at what's happened so far. It'd be interesting to see a couple of the passes. I say that as James Knox ahead launches an attack on Tozzoli into the third to last corner and does get past relatively cleanly without much resistance from the Academy car. I say that down the inside quite late for Tozzoli, and that was never on. Sort of losing the position by himself there. Unfortunately going for a gap that was never going to be there. Karatko out of nowhere, by the way, in P11 here, down the inside into turn 1 of the Academy car, tries what Turi couldn't do a couple of laps ago, and is able to get it done. Very close though is Turi behind him, and will have the outside into turn 3. This is generally considered to be a better position, but there's a bit of contact, and Turi is out wide and is under pressure from Van der Smissen, who goes late on the brakes, almost into the back of Karatko.
Yeah, these corners do lead to that. There's kind of almost like switchbacks, especially that penultimate corner, where you think you can just accelerate and dive down the inside, but unfortunately it's almost too late to do so because the driver ahead is almost committing to the apex before they know you're there. So it's a brave person that does that, and if you get down the inside and you make it stick, you look like a hero, but more often than not you make contact and you don't. So and that's what happened there to Tozzoli, and of course Turi as well just now, trying the same sort of thing, just wasn't on. And that's the thing you learn in these sort of slightly higher series when you come from Academy. You have to give racing room, and Turi has not done that there. Van der Smissen trying to go down the inside, Turi not seeing him or not leaving him enough room. And unfortunately what happens in these series is that it usually costs yourself time. And that's exactly what happened with Turi there as we were talking about it.
Yeah, here we go for the first round of replays. In fact, it is what we've just watched on board with Van der Smissen. And it isn't a late move. It's clear what he's going to do. But Turi just closes that space down and just doesn't leave a car's width unless you're forcing Van der Smissen onto the unideal curb there, which is part of the rule, by the way. You have to leave racing room that doesn't push the other driver onto an unideal surface. Van der Smissen here trying to make those positions back, battling with Shlovev, but just isn't able to get past into turn 1. Has the inside in turn 2, and in turn 3 will have the outside, and a nice little late braking, but he's just not been given room again. It feels like pushed onto the grass there by Shlovev.
Yeah, I feel like when we're watching that replay, Van der Smissen telegraphed the move. He didn't exactly jink out and dive bomb him. He moved his car into position early enough so that he could be seen in the mirrors. Got enough of an overlap according to GPVWC rules, where you have to be front wheels alongside the rear wheels. Doesn't count on the straight, but it does in the corners. You have to be rear wheels and front wheels need to be aligned. And so he got that and just was not given enough racing room, so was turned in on. And unfortunately, that would always go against the Italian Academy driver. The rule for the straight is you have to just be overlapping on the straight. So it's not front wheel to rear wheel. You just have to have an overlap before you're required to be given racing room on the straights. So it's just a reminder of that particular one. In case you were wondering and thinking, well, that was a dive bomb for Van der Smissen. Not really. He had enough time. He got his car alongside according to GPV rules, and was not afforded the space. So now we're watching on board with Tozzoli, and he is not able to defend that position from James Knox, who is in P8 as we speak.
Yeah, he was trying to capitalize on that late braking by James Knox, sort of outbroke himself into the third to last corner. Sazzoli got alongside, but just couldn't get it done in the penultimate corner. And we'll have to settle in for P9 for now. Still 6 laps to go, and that gap between Sandeep Singh and Omari Watson has remained relatively constant. We talked about it going down to 0.5 a few laps ago, and unless Singh is playing the long game here, it could just be that Omari Watson, sort of undiscussed for the length of this race, is just managing Singh behind. I say that, he is 2 tenths faster on the last lap, but that gap hasn't really changed at all.
No, but Singh is kind of, I think, managing that. The closer you get, the more dirty air you get, and he is sitting there. And if you look at his straight line and the gap as they go down the straight, it does decrease due to the slipstream. I think Singh is biding his time, waiting for a minor error from Omari Watson, showing in his mirrors, trying to put Watson off. These two have obviously met each other multiple times in real life. They were together at, when we were at Milton Keynes for the GPVWC day a couple of years ago. They're old hand in GPVWC as well. So working on each other during the race, making sure the other one tries to make a mistake or moving about in the mirrors. It may or may not work. They'll know each other a little bit better than they would other competitors in this series. So keep an eye out on these two. I personally think Singh is biding his time. We'll try and close up over the next couple of laps and make a move a couple of laps from the end of the race. That's my opinion of them. Interesting that the YouTube chat doesn't agree with me. Thinks that Justin is not entitled to room there because the move was too late. I don't agree. I don't agree with that, having viewed it back on replay and live as well. If you present your car alongside, this is racing. Ultimately, you have to try to overtake and outbrake another car. He presented his car, and at the point they made contact, he was fully alongside them, and I believe he was making the corner. So therefore, I believe that was fine. Alex, there's a few laps left now. What do you think of this leading to? I've spoken for a long time.
Yeah, you just want to break, really. But yeah, Singh, I think you're correct in that he's managing that gap, as it does tend to grow in this final straight we're about to get onto here, as Singh is able to catch up thanks to the massive slipstream you get along the straight. And it's actually closer this time around than he has been before. And it got to 0.3 last time at the end of the straight. This time it's going to be around the same, but a bit closer for Singh. So I think Singh is just using this slingshot at the end of the lap to slowly decrease the gap between himself and Omari Watson. And it seems to be an effective strategy here for Sandeep Singh along these straights to just stay with Omari Watson without losing too much time through the corners.
Yeah, it's the thing is with the dirty air is that the closer you get, the worse it gets. So it's not like you can sit on someone's diffuser and it's just not viable. You just will lose too much time as soon as you get there. What you need to kind of do is slingshot off a corner, get a better exit to get the slipstream all the way down the next straight, and then make the move. See, Singh just, I mean, I don't know if that was a minor mistake or a little bit of dirty air there, but he missed the apex there, lost half a tenth, which is now kind of compounded to a tenth. But then as soon as you get to the next straight, bit of slipstream, the gap starts coming back down again. And that wasn't even a particularly high speed straight either. So keep an eye through turn 8. This will be interesting because obviously this is not, foot to the floor, keep it pinned. It's one of those corners where you really have to be smooth, find the ideal line, make sure you're not scrubbing that front right too much. And the gap is closing a little bit as they head into this chicane, and it's all about the exit. And Omari is a little bit wide this time round. Look at the gap coming down, and now in the slipstream it'll be under half a second as they cross the timing line here. And 4-5 kph faster. This could be the lap where he tries to make a move down into the final sector.
I don't think so this time around. In fact, I think Singh let off a little there.
Yeah, so he is playing this game. He knows the race is a few laps away. It's going to be in the next couple of laps, Alex.
Yeah, and the pressure here is probably increasing exponentially for Omari Watson because he will realize, a move is going to come, an attack is going to come from Sandeep Singh here as we reach the closing stages of the race. And also, as that lap count decreases, while it is a bit of a relief for Omari Watson, Brody Lawless attacking Junior Lopez here, by the way. Just a quick diversion. Lopez made the move just a few laps ago. And Lawless here, fighting Lopez inside on turn 3, is able to stay alongside, but Lopez will quickly shut that down. And Lawless here, trying to get back that P4 position he had towards the start of the race. And yeah, this is a battle that will last for quite some time. I hadn't realized that Lawless had been catching up to Lopez here.
Well, it's Lopez showing his round 1 pace is not a fluke and has made positions. He just obviously had a bit of a poor qualifying and then got stuck in some a bit of opening lap dribble, that happens in Formula Sprint 2 from time to time. But he's not that far away from the leaders, actually, is it? Is he? At one point I wondered if he might be able to close all the way up to the leaders, but if anything, it's Chorus that's dropped off the back of the leading pair. Singh 4/10 back and closing this time around, and I'm wondering if he is in a position to make a move now as they head into the final sector. No, once again, Singh lifting off. I wonder if he's waiting for the very final lap, thinking that the slipstream's strong as Lawless goes by on the outside of Lopez. Can he stick it through the right-hander as well? Lopez leaving him room and should have the inside in the final corner. Does Lawless try and cut back? Oh, he's going to get a good exit, Is this going to be down into turn 1? Will Lopez defend? He doesn't. So Lawless has got the inside line wide open to him. Can he take the position from Lopez?
Well, Lopez was late enough on the brakes once more into turn 1. Able to stay ahead of Lawless, and Lawless trying the same strategy again. Lopez remaining stoic on that outside line. He realizes that it's better towards the inside into the second corner, and you can sort of defend it here. Lawless tries the outside. There's a bit of contact with the front wing and the back wheel of Junior Lopez, and yeah, that's just going to be the end of an attack for now until we get to the next 2 straights through turn 7 here. And the dirty air not seeming to affect Brody Lawless as much, but I think Lawless just wants to get past Lopez here and is probably trying to distract Lopez away from his teammate up ahead in P3. Of course, that doesn't matter so much anymore. 2.7 seconds between him and Kasper Kuretz in third, but Lawless here, yeah, doing a good job of sort of pestering Lopez, I would say.
Pestering is the right word, I agree. It's what my cat's doing right now. I know all about pestering. Is Singh close enough this time around? He is not. So this is going to be penultimate or last lap if it's going to happen. Here comes the Lopez-Lawless battle again. Lawless once again on the outside. Lopez showing him to the outside. Can Lopez do exactly as it rinse repeat of the last lap? It looks like it's going to be. Lawless once again on the outside. Once again going to cut back. Once again is Lopez going to defend down into turn 1. I don't think he is. I think he's comfortable leaving Lawless to overtake him through the first corner, at least try. And down the inside once again goes Brody Lawless for reading game. Gives Lopez just enough room. Lopez still side by side. You can go side by side all the way through this sector if you really want. Down into the left-hander, we plunge off the top of the hill. Lawless on the inside this time around is going to hold on, but Lopez sticks his nose in. They're still side by side. Into the double left-hander now. Oh, contact with Lawless on the side of Lopez. And they both hold on, and Lawless is still side by side. Now finally slots in. That was tight.
Yeah, that was always going to happen. If you were looking how close they were getting in the previous corners, there's a bit of push and shove through turn 1 and through turn 3. There's been contact here and there, but I think that one was maybe a bit of temper showing from Lopez on the outside, or maybe just not giving enough room to Brody Lawless. It'll have to be something to analyze later on, but we still have the opportunity for a move here for Brody Lawless. For Sandeep Singh up ahead, the gap actually isn't as close as it has been on previous laps in those final corners. So that's not great for Sandeep Singh if his plan was to make a move in the dying moments of this race. 5 attempts he's able to close up to through the final corner. So it's going to have to be a major lap from Sandeep Singh on the last lap here. Lawless not as close, goes for a late dive on Junior Lopez into the third to last corner, is just not able to get close enough, but will try for the better exit through the final corner.
I think Lopez has got this one covered, you know. I think he's got him out-tacticked in that final sector. So no matter what Lawless can do or does, I don't think Lopez is going to let him through in this. But it shows how powerful the slipstream is in these cars. As Lawless tries on the inside, he's better off reversing the strat and just trying his best through the middle sector to hang on like he has done and make the move into that final chicane. But on the final lap, it's Watson versus Singh at the front of the pack. And Singh is 8 tenths back. As you say, Watson has pulled out a miniature gap. Singh lifting off in that final sector over the last few laps needs a mega middle sector here if he's going to challenge into the final corner.
Yeah, and like you say, 2 tenths slower on that last lap is just not that good for Singh. 0.8 is the biggest the gap has been for about 6 laps now for Sandeep Singh. And it's just growing through turn 8. I think he cooked his tyres on that last lap, trying to attack Omari Watson, and it just hasn't been ideal for Sandeep Singh here. 7 tenths, again, the biggest the gap has been into the chicane. It went up to a second here, and I think Singh just won't have the overspeed, won't have any opportunity here to overtake Omari Watson. And commentator's curse aside, Omari Watson looks pretty set here to take his first victory in FS2 through the final set of corners in that green Orbit Motorsports car. Through the final corners now is Omari Watson coming to win race 1 here in Turkey. Just a few more moments left, and across the line he wins from Sandeep Singh in P2, and Kasper Kuretz crosses the line relatively quietly in P3.
Yeah, absolutely. He drove a very quiet race. But congratulations to Watson. He absolutely rinsed Singh on those last couple of laps. And that was what got him that victory all the way through. I thought Singh was playing the long game, but no. Watson just had too much for him in the end. Lopez did win that little battle with him and Lawless. Ockenhaug taking a quiet P6 for him. James Knox up into P7 and getting into that latter part of the top 10 is really critical for the reverse grid. So yeah, very good from Omari Watson, showing his credentials this season, taking victory in race 1 here at Turkey. Your turn, Alex.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh, god damn it. Omari Watson wins race 1 here at Istanbul Park, with Sandeep Singh coming behind him in P2. Kasper Kuretz P3, with Junior Lopez in P4 beating out Brody Lawless in the dying laps there for P4. Brody Lawless P5, Magnus Ockenhaug relatively quietly in P6. James Knox P7, with Dami Karatko P8. Skinner dropping down in the last couple of laps to P9, with Tice Youngstra rounding out the top 10. Joe Gillette lines up P11, the unlucky position for him for the reverse grid. Mauro Tozzoli lines up P12 with Samil Slavev P13. Michael Falkenhayn is able to recover to P14 with Yunus Kerala last of the point scorers in P15. Lorenzo Chiri P16 with Mikhail Tuamala 17th. Andrea Shinagler, a great recovery but not able to get into the points in P18 with David DeVries and Josh Flynn rounding out the top 20. Domenico Scarpelli 21st with Charlotte Menink at first of the Venus Motorsports cars with Manaman Kandan behind her. Caitlin Penny 24th with Mihailo Zhendjevic finishing 25th. Johannes Lepit 26th, Bobby Vakanov 27th, and Simon Kanda and Florian Hassa 1 lap behind at finishing 28th and 29th. Vander Smissen DNF in P30, and Craig Patterson also DNFing for Priority 1. Well then, Toby. Interesting race 1. What's your takeaway from that?
I think it shows how, with a wider track, the standards do improve in this series. You know, when you have more room to race on, things do get better, and that was a pretty good race from driving standards point of view. A little bit of contact in the final sector aside, it was pretty decent, I think. Not too bad at all. And I think as well, it was interesting how we have 3 race winners from the 3 races this season. Oh my god.
Waste.
3 race winners from 3 races this season. Definitely showing that the strength of the championship is there as well for the season, and something I'm very interested in as we go through the course of the races this season. But certainly a cracking win from Amari Watson there. Sandeep Singh will be hoping for a better race too than he had last time, I would say.
Yes, and let's start a gambling ring on what the... I shouldn't say gambling ring, that sounds highly illegal. But what the reverse grid will be for race 2. It has never been P11 in my time commentating the series, so maybe, just maybe, we'll get it today. If the random number generation is as fair as it's quoted to be. But it doesn't seem that way. Joe Gillette, of course, was the one finishing in P11, so that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, let's have a look. Where is the information? No more P11 slander, please.
Yeah, we need a P11, don't we?
We do. It would reach a point where I think we're already at the point where it is statistically unlikely that P11 has not happened a single time in 17 races.
For sure.
In fact, let me do the calculation right now.
Yeah, okay. Whilst you're doing that, hopefully the server is currently being restarted. But as a result, we're going to go very, very quickly for a short break. Great. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you've all had a lovely time so far tonight. I certainly have. Have you, Alex?
Yes, I have, and I have done the calculation. It is a 4.5% chance that we have not had a single P11 reverse grid this entire season, and
Are
in
you
fact,
sure?
including last season, it is a 4.5% chance. This is
Isn't it 20 times 20? Sorry, 0.2 times 0.2 times 0.2 times 0.2 times etc.
Well, it would be 5/6 to the power of 17, which is 5/6 times 5/6, 17 times. Yeah.
Why is it
That gives us
5/6?
5/6 is the probability of
1/6.
not getting.
Oh,
the
not
11.
get. Yes, you're right. Sorry, Marbayed. And also, it's
It's P14.
of course. Who is P14?
Falkenhayn.
Ooh, that could be a race 2 win for Mikhail Falkenhayn. Falkenhayn. Mr. Jungbluth. Falkenhayn. Falkenhayn, exactly. Mikhail Falkenhayn. Yes. Thank you. It helps to have a German speaker in the commentary box. We had Vincent Gutt last season, who is no longer commentating with us, Alex. So we've got the next German. Very good on cameras.
The Kaufland. That's more of an insult, actually.
Can wir sehen? Ja, natürlich. Oh my goodness. Is there another race? There isn't there?
There is, yes.
Wunderbar. We have, so far this season, had 3 races. This is the second round. So the championship is 16 rounds long, 32 races long. Plenty of opportunity for you guys to let me know what you want us to talk about in the warm-up sessions. Please, can you let us know some subject matter? You feel free to DM myself on Discord. You can also type in the YouTube chat and I will do my best to read. Certainly some of the subjects you talk about in the YouTube chat I can't talk about. Some of them we can. We'll see. So let me know if you've got any superlative ideas. Give it a good listen, like. No ideas so far. Alex, you got any?
Unless you want to hear about statistical distributions and how we calculated the 4.5% value, which I highly doubt you would like to hear about. There you go, Toby.
Go on, give me some statistical analysis of the data spread of reverse grid probabilities.
Well, there's no data spread. The mean value for the reverse grid is still 12.5. It's still completely random, and there's nothing to suggest it's not random. It's just that we have hit the improbability of getting not P11 18 times in a row. In fact, the chances have decreased even more now. Hold on. It's now a 3.8% chance.
So the chance is quite high first time round. The thing is, though, the chances are quite high each time round, right? So if you take it in isolation, it's quite likely. But over a course of a long time, it's not. It's interesting,
It's
isn't it?
1/6 likely each time.
It's like not rolling a 6, isn't it, in 18 attempts?
It's exactly like not rolling a 6. That is what it is.
It's a perfect analogy.
Except this is
It's not a 6, it's a 2.
technically, like it's not as pseudo random as dice are, because
Why?
Dice aren't technically, even when they're fair, they can't be considered completely random because they're still
Good.
impacted by the direction you throw them from and how you throw them.
True, I suppose.
Don't worry about it. But
No, you're right. It depends which way up you start with, doesn't it, and how many rotations you put on the dice. Presumably, you can manufacture a dice roll that's more likely to give you a 6 than any other if you practice it, I assume.
if you practice it, yes. But that's if you practice it. If you're just throwing a dice randomly, like if you threw it at the wall, then you're going to get a random number. But
Especially if the wall is not flat and a completely planal surface, right? If you've got something that's got jaggedy edges on that's going to throw it out randomly again, it's going to make it even more random.
and yes, I am aware that computer RNGs are not completely random. Like they do have there's some errors that happen there. They can't completely randomize something, but there are ways we can completely randomize things if you want to hear about that.
Yeah, actually, that sounds pretty interesting. How do you completely randomize something with
You
a
don't.
method?
Well,
What?
there's very few natural random processes. But I believe one of them is to do with like selecting a point with a microscope and making that a number.
Isn't light random? As in, like,
No.
it's... So, as in, like, the particles within light when they bounce into something.
They
Like the scatter.
but
an
that
individual
goes for any
particle.
particles because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, particles of anything.
yeah, anything is random. You can, if you look at particles, you can find anything pretty much.
Hmm. I can't remember the exact experiment, but there's one that's like... you can only... It's something like you can only detect... or light only behaves in a certain way when you watch it, when you observe it, right?
This is quantum mechanics. It's
Yes. Cool. Yeah, like particles only behave in a certain quantum way.
when they're observed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the meme of my particles are moving, but I am not, and it is just a guy glowing like a light bulb. I'll take that as a no.
No. But then also... Oh, I don't know.
Because, well, they have kinetic energy, which means heat, at when they're stationary.
Hmm.
We can also measure the force of light, by the way.
Oh, yes. I have. Isn't it like something to do with mirror? Oh, no. When you put two mirrors next to each other, they can generate light if you move them back and forth. Is that right?
They could. It is not possible to generate light from nothing.
Oh, what's the thing?
What's the thought thing?
Mirrors
Thought.
generate light. When you move them.
Typing ASMR.
Well. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, if you move a mirror at the speed of light, the image that you're showing on it will appear to exceed the speed of light. Why? Because it's moving away from you. How interesting. But the
You
light
also
reflecting
wouldn't
back to
see
you.
it.
No, of course, but if you could observe it.
Yes.
I mean, obviously you can't see anything at the speed of light. Not anything with mass, anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, he says. It's been a while since I did A-level physics. Don't ask me how long.
No, we need to know. Actually, we don't need to know because we've got a grid to talk about.
16 years. It's your turn to do the grid. No, is it my turn to do the grid?
It's your
Is it
turn. 'Cause I did race one.
Did you do the grid last time?
I did, yes.
Mikhail Falkenhayn is on pole position with his teammate Samui Slavev in P2 for mates row. This is going to be a very interesting race. Mauro Tazzoli in P3 with Joe Gillette for Hunter Birch in fourth. Tice Youngstra for RNG with his teammate Ben Skinner alongside him. Damir Karatko and James Knox on row 4. Row 5. Magnus Ockenhaug, Brody Lawless, Junior Lopez and Casper Koritz on row 6. And then race 1 podium sitters Sandeep Singh and Amari Watson 13th and 14th. Then we have Yunus Kerala, Lorenzo Turi in 15th and 16th. 17th place Mikhail Tuamala with Andrea Kanaya in 18th, David the Free in 19th, Josh Flynn in 20th position. 21st is Domenico Scabelli, 22nd Charlotte Manning, 23rd Mana Manakandan with 24th Caitlin Penny, whose birthday was yesterday. Mihailo Vicentievich, I've been told it's Vicentievich, in 25th, Johannes Lepit 26th, Bobby Vakunov in 27th, Shimon Kanda 28th. 29th, Florian Haase after that dismal opening lap for him. Hope he improves. Justin van der Schmissen didn't finish in P30. And Craig Patterson, 31st, also a DNF.
So I believe I saw Craig in chat advertising his seat for Priority 1 after this race. Unsure what happened in race 1 to Craig, of course. But we didn't see why.
He'll feel better after race 2.
Potentially.
Yeah, he obviously had
plenty of time to recover.
Obviously had some dribble that he couldn't survive, unfortunately, for Craig, but it's always the way. It's difficult to not be emotional immediately after a race, but I think he'll feel better after. He puts a lot of time and effort into GPVWC and Priority 1 and his team and all the liveries and stuff. He's a good guy to have around, so I'm sure he will change his mind. And Van der Schmissen taking his time to get to the grid. And there we go. A final position lined up. Craig Patterson doesn't look like he's going to take part as the 5 lights are on. And now they're not. Falkenhayn on the right, Slavev on the left. Falkenhayn gets a great jump and straight away slots into P1 ahead of Slavev. On the inside, Tozzoli trying to make a move immediately. Joe Gillette on the outside of the track. James Knox has moved up a position and we have already seen something happen to Tor Mahler. Not sure exactly what happened to him. He dropped a couple of positions there as there's a bit of lag there for James Knox. Hope he can sort that out or it sorts itself out as down the inside is Gillette with Ben Skinner slotting behind him. Actually, it's Thijs Jongstra who's got ahead of Joe Gillette in P4. Tozzoli, though, staying in P3. It's been relatively clean on this opening lap so far. And as little severe side-by-side contact there between Skinner and Gillette, but Falkenhayn assertive off the line and straight away into the lead.
Yeah, Falkenhayn with a great exit there, 7/10 to his teammate already, so that's a huge gap to start the race with. Sandeep Singh unable to improve his position on Kasper Kuritz for now as Joe Gillette comes under pressure from Ben Skinner, who has had a pretty good start, although we are bumper front wing to diffuser, 5 cars in a row here as we're watching Ben Skinner, James Knox, Joe Gillette and Brody Lawless into the not Brody Lawless, Damir Carrasco into the penultimate section. Ben Skinner on the inside of Joe Gillette here and does have the better run. Gillette getting a bit squiggly on the outside of the third to last corner. There's a yellow flag in sector 3 and Vasantajevic dropping back, and Skinner and Youngstra looking strong in the Team RNG cars, 5th and 4th, as Gillette once again under pressure from James Knox here, and it's a pretty easy move on the inside. Brody Lawless up to P8, but overtaken around the outside by Magnus Ockenhaug and Junior Lopez.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side into the left-hander here as well. Just in front is James Knox and Ben Skinner. Side by side still. Around the outside goes Skinner and now finally takes the position. Gillette side by side there with Brody Lawless. And in fact, Brody Lawless has had another good getaway to this race, hasn't he? P7 he is now in. And we haven't seen Singh or Watson make any positions at all from their reverse grid positions so far. So it looks like we might have a different race winner so far. Lawless up 3 positions, Joe Gillette down 4. We have seen also Scapelli is not looking likely to do another reverse grid win for him. And Lopez P12 as well. Championship leader before this round. It's going to be interesting to see where the points shake out at the end of the day. But Slavev and Falkenhayn for Mapesvo definitely holding on to that 1-2, and Mapesvo is a very old name in GPVWC. Nice to see them back this season. Former Super League Constructors winners as through down the inside goes James Knox. Oh, he's braking too late and he's going to run wide and lose a chunk of positions as a result of that. And Knox looked like he was going up into P5, now P9.
Yeah, that was a that was a rough final sector there for James Knox, losing out on 3 positions down from P6. Now battling with Dano Karatko for P8 into turn 1. Down the inside, late on the brakes, later than Karatko. But Karatko has a bit of a better momentum here, heading through turn 2, and is able to regain the position for now from James Knox. As Brody Lawless ahead takes P5 from Ben Skinner. Karatko is under pressure now, 3 wide almost, as Kuritz looks to the inside, thinks better of it. Junior Lopez takes Kuritz for P11, Singh close behind in P13, and Lopez, taking that position from the reading game car. Kuritz on the inside, Singh on the outside. Singh might have a better run here, as that's Karatko going wide through turn 7 and right onto the back of the Cap Clay car. So that's put a gap in between himself and Kasper Kuritz. That's a good little buffer, it must be said, for Junior Lopez.
Yeah, absolutely. Lopez definitely getting his elbows out in this race too. It's interesting to see that as well. James Knox, I think, has had some internet dramas, which I think was potentially the cause of that little bit of contact in that final sector. We are currently struggling, or at least I am, to see the broadcast as it's happening. I hope you guys have still got a broadcast right now. We're going to have to follow on race view for a second, as things are not quite working as they should our end. But Falcon does still lead from Slavev as we head onto lap 4 of the race. And Slavev is 5/10 back. Tazoli sets a fastest lap of the race right now as well. So Tazoli doing a decent job. I'm afraid we've lost picture our end, so we're just going to try and have to commentate on
Watch Fabian's stream.
The race view as best we can, and go from there. Oh, we finally got the pictures back. So Slavev P2 then is he's a little bit further back from Falkenhayn than he was earlier on, but the top 4 have broken away, Alex.
Yeah, the top 4 has a nice little buffer between themselves and Brody Lawless. I think that's mainly due to the battle that Skinner and Lawless had a few laps ago, just before the picture dropped out. And that was quite unfortunate, because I think a nice bit of interesting racing was happening. We were trying to commentate from, we had a small picture from Fabian, and we were trying to commentate from the YouTube as well, but that's, of course, got a delay. But yeah, the Mapes road cars up ahead, under pressure from Tazoli, it must be said, which is a great position for the Academy car. It seems, though, these drivers just have the worst of luck every time they get into a decent position. I mean, in race 2 last time around, for Shinaglia, he was leading and then got pushed back, as Falkenhayn is under pressure here from his teammate, and they're quite close in the final corners. But I think Slavev has just cost himself a position in the long run to Tazoli, who almost pushes Thijs Jongstra out of room, and in fact he goes off the track at the final corner himself. But Tazoli has a 2/10 gap between him and the yellow Mapes row car, as Brody Lawless sets the fastest lap of the race, and Slavev under pressure here from the Academy car behind. But the Academy car hasn't got the greatest of exits, and here comes Thijs Jongstra now into turn 3, trying to get back on the brakes, trying to get past that Academy car, but just isn't close enough this time around. It's a little bit of a slide for the Team RNG car.
Yes, I think Jongstra fancies his chances today in race 2. He can see the 3 cars he needs to get ahead of, and they are there for the taking, I would say. Singh and Watson really struggling in race 2. Singh 14th still. Watson lost a position, now is 16th. So they're not making the progress I thought they might in race 2. Tell you who is, though, Brody Lawless, as you say, with the fastest lap. Tazoli now through into P2, by the way. Down the inside in turn 8, but now is lost out again to Slavev. These guys going to have to be a little bit careful, because Brody Lawless is fast behind them and could easily catch this pack if they don't stop squabbling quite so much, as Tazoli loses out once again to Slavev. That's going to give Jongstra the opportunity round the outside, and they're fighting for the slipstream as well. And this is all about who Slavev values as to who he gives the slipstream to. They're going to go 3 wide if they're not careful. Slavev is going left and right on the straight, which is brave. He's defending like it's the last lap. This is not what you want to do. I know it's a sprint race, but still, You need to gain the gap early on. Youngstra is going to go side by side as they head into the penultimate corner, side by side still with Tozzoli. Into the final turn, Youngstra takes the position P3.
But look at how close Lawless has got now. It's 1.6 seconds between Shlevev and Falkenhayn. Here's Tozzoli behind Thijs Youngstra into the first corner. There's major contact. Tozzoli, is able to hold on, but Lawless is right there. And with a great exit through turn 1, into turn 2, into turn 3. Lawless on the outside of the Academy car. The Academy car once again making contact with RNG car and almost goes round at the exit of turn 3. This is a true opportunity for Lawless here to get himself up onto the podium.
Superb car control from Tozzoli, but he's being too aggressive. He just needs to chill just a little bit if he wants to have any chance of fighting for the victory. He himself, Slavev and Youngstra battling has cost 2 seconds to Mikhail Falkenhayn in the lead. That is just not how you win a race in Formula Sprint 2. You have to be patient like Sandeep Singh was in race 1. Get the gap, maintain the pace, and attack later in the race. It's no good squabbling this early on, because what happens? The 2 leaders have checked out again. Slavev has escaped from this. Youngstra has lost the slipstream, and now these 3, as you say, with Brody Lawless on the back of them, it's going to be a fight for third as opposed to for the victory.
Yeah, but that's probably what Slavev's objective was there, was to try and bait that Academy car into a bit of a battle to create a pocket of space between him and his teammate to help him win the race. Tozzoli is fully overtaken, lays on the brakes into the third to the last corner, but that should be easy for Brody Lawless to manage here as we head through the penultimate corner. And there we go. Lawless is fully ahead, and it just feels like Tozzoli's a bit desperate to try and cling onto positions here. And inevitably, that's costing him more time than if he was just settling in behind and trying to retake them at a later point in the race. Kasper Kuritz up to P11, does set the fastest lap. He's behind Magnus Ockenhaug. Here's Junior Lopez, who's made a bit more progress from the front on the back of Ben Skinner here, and into turn 3 tries a look at the inside, and in fact won't go for it this time around. But James Knox looked like he was going to try it as Ben Skinner early on the brakes, and that's cost him a bit of time to Junior Lopez. And Ben Skinner sliding now through turn 6, and I think Lopez is fully past with the better exit, as Skinner will have a chance to get back of him into turn 7 on the inside, potentially getting the better exit into turn 8. But here comes James Knox now on the outside into turn 8. Knox backs out. Skinner settles in behind Junior Lopez, and what was looking like an incredibly scary situation for a free wide through the free apex corner has settled down into a nice little battle here. But Ockenhaug introducing himself to James Knox.
Yeah, Ockenhaug on the outside of Knox as they head through the left-hander. This is going on to the very fast back straight. What a move there by Ockenhaug around the outside. And now he is in position to slipstream the cars in front. If anything, Knox was too close on the exit, isn't able to get a run. Whereas Kasper Kuritz was just that little bit further behind, almost pushing him down the straight as James Knox, trying to find the inside as they head into the left-hander. In the final sector, they're going to go 3 wide. Around the outside is trying to go Kasper Kuritz. Ockenhaug then back down the inside of Knox. They're into the final corner. Knox on the inside in the yellow machine. The green car of the Hunter Birch of Ockenhaug on the outside. Side by side, they remain down the pit straight. And this could be Kasper Kuritz making it 3 wide. He's got the slipstream. Here we go. Down into turn 1. 3 wide. Kuritz down the inside takes the position. Has he braked too late? No, he hasn't. Holds on. Can Knox get a run up the hill towards the left-hander? He can. Can he make the move down the inside? Ockenhaug trying to find a way through as well. Knox on the inside then of Kuritz as they turn into left-hander. Kuritz looks like he's got it under control and takes the position. And through he goes up into P9. And that has just settled down now. Something I was watching as well. Kanaya battling away with Watson and Singh on the timing board. That seems to have settled itself down as well. But they're 2.3 seconds back from Karatko. Karatko's 2.3 seconds back from Ockenhaug. And then you've got Kerala, Singh, Watson. They are not going to make many more positions this race, if at all.
Yeah, Kurtz with a perfect invitation there, given to him by James Knox, and Magnus Ockenhaug gets the move done rather cleanly into turn 1. That seems like a recipe for disaster free wide, but it seems to have worked quite well for Reading Game. Another thing, Brody Lawless up to P3, taken Tai Youngstra's position on the podium now, has his sights set on Smil Slavev up ahead, and like you say, we've cut to Sandeep Singh here, 3 attempts behind Yunus Kerala, who will not have the straight line advantage here. Sandeep Singh into the third to last corner, commands the inside, and it doesn't seem like Kerala's defending this all too much. A bit late on the brakes for Kerala, but Sandeep Singh relatively tidy by, and Amari Watson looking to capitalize on this too. Looking to get the better exit through the final corner, and does get the better exit through the final corner. Kerala struggling a little bit on those outside curves. So Amari Watson invites himself down the inside into turn 1. Not close enough this time around to make a move. So that puts a car between himself and Sandeep Singh. Magnus Ockenhaug further up ahead is quite close to the back of James Knox. And by the way, Kasper Kuritz, who made the move a lap ago, already with a safe advantage between himself and James Knox there. That's at least a 1 mistake padding, but he has his sights set on Ben Skinner up ahead in the Team RNG car, and Brody Lawless as well. 3 attempts to himself and Smil Slavev at the front here, and we'll have a nice bit of slipstream as we head into the final 2 straights of the track.
Yes, Lawless is definitely in with a shout still in this race. I think Falkenhayn might be a little bit too far away, but certainly Lawless very, very fast, and a good 3/10 of that faster right now than our race leader Falkenhayn. And Lawless now will hope to get through Slavev as soon as possible. He's definitely within range to attack into the final 3 corners. Can he make his way up into P2 and then set his sights after Falkenhayn? He's got to get by Slavev as soon as possible. Slavev choosing not to defend this, and I think that's relatively wise considering who he's got behind him.
Yeah, Thijs Jongstra and Tazoli as well, looking to pick up any of the scraps left from a battle of these two. We've got a yellow in Sector 3. Yunus Kerala falling back quite significantly. He was P15. That invites Shania into P15, into the point-scoring positions. And Lawless now 3 seconds ahead of him. Falkenhayn is there, and he's got 5 laps to do it. So there's plenty of time, but he's going to have to increase that delta to try and attack Falkenhayn if he wants a chance of the win here in that Reading Game car. Looking further back, Kasper Kuritz hasn't been able to make much leeway on James Knox. In fact, James Knox has closed up right to the back of that Reading Game car, or I say right to the back, relatively close to the back of that Reading Game car, as Tuamala and Zandehavich both retire from the race, and here's Ockenhaug and James Knox working, I want to say together, to try and catch up to Kasper Kuritz and potentially pick up the rewards that might be left from any battle here between Ben Skinner and Kasper Kuritz.
Yeah, Kuritz himself will have hoped for slightly better progress if he could have made it. James Knox as well has been up and down the field with that little bit of lag early on. I think that seems to have fixed itself. Junior Lopez is now back on the back of the pack, I should say, that is fighting for P2. So Lopez is not completely out of the podium hunt. We know he has good pace from his opening round. Can he show it's more than just an opening round sort of pace advantage that he had? And in fact, he moves through past Joe Gillette up into P6. So yeah, don't rule out Lopez here for P2. I think that's definitely a possibility with 2/3 of the race gone. But Falkenhayn looking pretty impressive up front. He actually extended on track limits on the last lap, so I can't tell what lap time he did, but almost a PB from Brody Lawless, a 0.4 for him, and Junior Lopez sets the fast lap with a 0.0, 44.0 for Lopez, but 44.4 from Brody Lawless in P2, definitely gaining on the leader. I say that as the timing tower kind of shows he's lost a bit of time in the first sector, but we'll see if that is just the nature of the timing tower, or if indeed Lawless has made a minor mistake.
It's definitely possible. I think Lawless is struggling a little bit to try and find that pace as Falkenhayn puts a bit more pressure on getting that speed up, and in fact yeah, Lawless has lost 2 temps in the first sector, but there's still 2 more sectors in the lap to go as we watch Lopez here quite close to the back of the Academy car of Tozzoli, and will be in that slipstream in the next 2 straights through turn 8. Not much of an overtaking opportunity here, and into this next chicane. We've already seen what can go wrong trying to overtake on the inside here, and that was in fact, I believe, with Tozzoli's teammates. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate in race 1, but Lopez here will have a nice slipstream advantage into that penultimate set of corners, and in fact very close this time around. Damir Karatko gets a penalty in P13. That automatically will promote Watson and Shania as Lopez down the inside into the final set of corners and isn't battled too hard by Tozzoli, as Joe Gillette is right there ready to demote Tozzoli down to P7 if a mistake was to be made in that fight, but it seems relatively clean. I think Tozzoli now is just going to focus on keeping that Hunter Birch car behind, and if you look ahead, there's Thijs Jongstra on the back of Samil Slavev. Slavev on the inside in turn 1. Jongstra on the outside. Wasn't able to get past this time around, but the way that that gap has closed and the nature of this fight could very much introduce Lopez into a battle for the podium.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I think Lopez is I thought Jongstra was going to get right into the back of Slavev. He definitely made a small bit of contact, but nothing super strong as Gillette's nearly round. Oh, just held on to it. He's going to lose momentum, though, and this is going to give Ben Skinner the opportunity. Skinner, can he use Gillette around the outside? Will he skin him? No. Gillette just about hangs on. And, yeah, that's Gillette staying ahead.
Yeah, relatively recent retirements in this race. Jonas Corolla and Lorenzo Churi, the Academy and Priority 1 drivers, both retire from this race. Ben Skinner, once again, under pressure here from Kasper Kuritz. And through that second to last chicane, has no gap whatsoever to Kasper Kuritz. He pulls to the outside into the next set of corners, and we'll have the slipstream from Joe Gillette ahead. Moves up temporarily to P8, but Ben Skinner, actually, here comes James Knox down the middle. No one even considered that. Kuritz tries to the outside. We're 3 wide into the last set of corners. James Knox on the outside, Ben Skinner on the inside. Skinner with the better exit. Kuritz with the better exit, and we're looking again at 3 wide. James Knox onto the grass by Ben Skinner.
Yeah, and it's 3 wide as we head into turn 1, and I don't think Skinner's going to give this one up. He doesn't. He's still there with Knox side by side through turn 2 as we head up the hill towards 3, and it's going to be 3 wide again. I love race 2 in FS2. It's always exciting. Down the inside goes Skinner on Knox. Knox holding on in the Excellion around the outside. Got the inside for the right-hander. Doesn't understeer into Skinner. Skinner just pinches him, and down the inside, and again more contact there from Ockenau this time. And they're side by side on the exit, 3 wide into the right-hander. Knox does not look happy in that Excellion. He's going to go down the inside of Ockenau. Ockenau turns in, just about pinches him. Oh, what a switchback there from Sandeep Singh. And Singh, out of nowhere, is P11.
Yes, Singh enters the fray with an excellent move, an excellent switchback. Not much space between himself and Knox there, but does get the move ahead. And now focuses on Ockenhaug once more. 0.3 between him. Kuritz replicating that sensational move he made just a few laps ago. A double overtake into turn 1 once more. And Kuritz just seems very confident on the brakes in that first corner. And it is working out to be fruitful as Singh here catches up to the back of that Hunter Birch car. And Ockenhaug tries to defend the inside. Settles for the outside though. Into the final set of corners. Singh is fully ahead, and we're 3 wide further behind as Omari Watson tries to go down the inside of Damir Karatko, who does have that penalty, by the way, and still has to serve it, although seems to have been blocked from entering the pit lane there. Somewhat of his own fault, but will try and fight Omari Watson here into turn 1. And here we go. It doesn't seem like Karatko has the straight line speed advantage, and will have to be late on the brakes into turn 1. And there is no move, but if you look further ahead, there's Simon Kanda defending from Justin van der Smissen. And from the picture I could see there. Van der Smissen with the better exit through turn 2. They are side by side, wheel to wheel, it could be said, heading towards turn 3. Van der Smissen will have that inside and actually tries to hold on to that inside of Simon Kanda, tries to go around the outside of turn 4, and in fact gets it nicely positioned for the next set of corners, but they're still side by side now approaching turn 7. Someone was off in the background. I think that was Shania, who's now down to P19. Van der Smissen around the outside in turn 7, late on the brakes, but just isn't able to get past the Orbit Motorsports car, and now falls into the grasp of Josh Flynn.
Through turn 8 we head. Van der Smissen still in the slipstream there of Shimon Kanda and trying to take that position back. This is for the final point-paying position, don't forget. So this is literally for 1 point, as Van der Smissen trying that move down the inside he did in race 1 on the Academy car, but this time afforded room. This is what I'm saying, you know, if you afford someone room there, you both survive. They're still side by side as the back straight. This is going to bring Josh Flynn into play, who we have not mentioned too much. They're going to go side by side, and now it's 3 wide once again into the final 3 corners. And look at this, Van der Smissen not allowing the car of Shimon Kanda to come across on him, which is completely fine, driving in a straight line down the straight, nothing wrong with that. But Van der Smissen therefore has kept his position from Josh Flynn, and Kanda now his next his target once again in front of him. We're on to the final lap of the race. It looks like Falkenhayn's done enough, barring any major errors, to take the victory from Brody Lawless, and Junior Lopez has indeed moved himself up into P3, as we were talking about, with Ty Songster hot on his heels, and Sandeep Singh finally breaking into the top 10 over the last couple of laps, but only just. Race 1 podium a little bit more spread out than they were in race 1, indeed in race 2. But it looks like Falkenhayn, as he heads through turn 8 for the final time in Formula Sprint 2 in 2025, looks like he will take the victory for Mapesvo.
Yeah, strong performance all around, helped by his teammates defending and creating a nice pocket of space between himself and Brody Lawless at some point in the race. Lopez completely out of the question to get up to P2, completely out of the question to try and attack Brody Lawless as we get towards the end of the race. But here's Falkenhayn navigating the final straight. 3 corners stand between him and his first victory in FS2. And Brody Lawless close behind, but just wasn't able to catch up in time. He gained a second in those last 5 laps, but there isn't 30 laps, unfortunately, Brody, and that just isn't enough time. But for Falkenhayn, it's a perfect amount of time as he crosses the line to win in Turkey. Brody Lawless taking a podium here, and for Junior Lopez, a great drive, getting up to P3. Tai Xiangstra takes P4 with Samil Slavev from second, only able to hold up to 5th, but a great defensive drive to allow his teammate to win here.
Yes, I think Slavev was a rear gunner throughout the first part of that race, and of course Falkenhayn drove exceptionally well to take that victory, converting that reverse grid pole to a reverse grid win, and 4 winners
That's
for the
good.
first. Yeah, I know, I struggle with it every time. I had to change so much of Ed Hunter's preview to make sure that worked for me. Reverse grid win. It's so hard to say. But Falkenhayn is our 4th race winner of 2025 from 4 races, 2 rounds completed. Well done to Mikhail. Top job. And he's going to be smashed into. Fantastic for the broadcast. Well done, lads. So let's go through the results. So pointless. I wish it didn't happen. Mikhail Falkenhayn, P1. Brody Lawless, P2, and Junior Lopez, P3, the podium sitters. Junior Lopez getting his career? Why was I? No, his championship back on track. Career. I nearly said transfer, then I nearly said career.
Results, Toby, results.
Tai Xiangstra, P4. Oh my days.
I can take over if you want.
No, I can do this. Samir Slavev, P5. Mauro Tetzoli, P6. Joe Gillette, not quite the best that Hunter Birch can get, in P7. Kasper Koritz, P8. Sandeep Singh, P9. And Ben Skinner, P10.
Good job they weren't together.
11th place for Magnus Ockenau. Gamari Watson, our race 1 winner, only P12. James Knox could have lagged his way into the podium today, but unfortunately P13 for him. Shimon Kanda P14. And Justin van der Schmissen, who shows flashes of great pace, but also a bit of incident here and there. 15th. Josh Flynn, Johannes Leppert, Kanaya, Manakanda and Haza not scoring points, down to 20th. Our other finishers were David the Free, Bobby Bakunov, Caitlin Penny, Charlotte Menink and Domenico Scapelli. Lorenzo Turi, Jonas Karala, Vicentievich, Mikhail Tuamala and Damir Karatko got disqualified for not serving the drive-through, which was pretty stupid. They were also DNFs or disqualifications. We also didn't see Craig Patterson at all today in race 2, which is a shame. If Karatko got a penalty... Yeah, if Karatko got a penalty and didn't serve it, that's pretty sad.
He did get a penalty, and he didn't serve it.
No, sorry, didn't... Why did I say... Oh, my head's gone. It's completely fried. If Karatko got a penalty and didn't serve it, that's pretty stupid.
Correct.
Because he's going to get disqualified every time. I'm not sure what he was thinking, really. But there we go. Especially racing other people so hard. Like, if he's got a drive-through penalty, you have to serve it.
Yeah, a penalty typically means you have to serve it, Toby. Yeah. I mean, in all fairness to Karatko, you know, it was either not finishing the points or not finishing the points. But a disqualification certainly looks worse on your record, I must say.
Strange. Right, let's speak to our race 2 winner, Mikhail Falkenheim. So, Mikhail, congratulations on race 2. Reverse grid, lights to flag, victory. Well done, mate.
Hello, thank you.
Obviously, race 1 being in the mix for a reverse grid always works nicely. You dropped down the field. How did race 1 feel from your point of view?
Very bad. I actually went up on the front wing for race 2, which fixed a big issue I had on my setup. But yeah, I mean, I got hit in the rear by my own fault, I think, and got damaged race 1, so I just fell through the field. But yeah, I went up on the front wing for race 2, which fixed an understeer issue I had.
Fair enough. It does help in the bit of dirty air as well to have extra front wing. Of course, you didn't need it in race 2. Victory in race 2 obviously means that helps overall for the championship, and of course for Mapes Foe. It's way too early to be talking about that, of course, but puts you on a good platform for round 3.
Oh yeah, especially because Suzuka is one of my favorite tracks as well. So I'm really excited for round 3, and I think, yeah, it's a good way forward after the mess in Australia.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Not your best round. Hopefully it improves as we head to Turkey, as we head from Turkey, I should say, to Suzuka. So yeah, congratulations, Mikhail. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, who do you want, Alex? Who do you
Let's
want?
bring in Yunia Lopez. Mr. Lopez, hello. Congratulations. That was I would say a fairly solid race. P3 race 2, P4 race 1. How are you feeling after that?
Oh, so after Australia, I was like, okay, we can win, you know. Man, the guys are so fast. I've never seen FS2 like this. It's I don't even know the gaps, but there were no gaps in between anyone, you know. It was just so tough. Racing is so tough. You need to be very decisive to make the moves. So it's just thankful that we got the points, to be honest.
Fair enough. So that I think again would keep you in the lead of the championship as it stands. So that's of course great. But race 2, a nice little performance from P11. Not P11. It will have been P10. Sorry, to get yourself into P3. Was that an interesting race from your perspective, or do you just think it was a bit of a push? Because there was a few opportunities there that you got that were just rather perfect.
Oh, it was such a push, man. It was more of a you had to play a little bit of chess, you know, keep the guy up in a decent manner to the guy in front in sector 1 and 2, and just then use the straight. But at the same time, if I had like 2 cars in front, I couldn't just stay behind them and get the dirty air. So sometimes I had to go for some crazy moves into turn 1 or something like that. It was just a crazy race, to be honest.
That seems to be the general consensus based on the driving that we saw as well. But anyway, yeah, I think that puts you at the top of the championship again after those 2 rounds. So yeah, congratulations for a decent set of results there, and hopefully you'll have a good time in Suzuka as well. But it's a great start to the season, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
Yeah, same, man. Thanks.
Bye. Toby.
Yes. One more, I think. I think we should speak to Amari Watson.
Yes.
Based on his race 1 victory. So nice to speak to Mr. Watson in the Formula Sprint 2 for the first time a race winner, Amari. Congratulations.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you.
Tell us how does it go in race 1? What was the plan? Obviously, you had Sandeep Singh tracking you most of the race, and we felt like he was going to sort of wait towards the last couple of laps to make a move. He seemed to be lifting towards the end of the straight in your slipstream, but then he pulled away 2 laps from the end.
I think coming out of the turn 9, if you had half a second, 6 tenths, you needed to send it to make an overtake. So I think that's why Sandeep was probably lifting off, because I don't think he was ever close enough to really make a move without doing something silly. So full respect to him for that. And in the last couple of laps, my pace wasn't like practice. It was a little bit slower, and I think Sandeep just called it a day. And you know, I just brought it home. I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon. I'm really speechless, to be fair, Toby.
Oh,
Really.
fair. Well done. I mean, obviously it's coming down from higher series for yourself and Sandeep, and coming into Formula Sprint 2 and showing that you're just as competitive here as you have been further up. How do you feel about your chances over the course of the whole season, considering you're now a race winner?
Well, before we go on to that, I just want to say I had a baby on the 30th of December last year.
Yep.
I want to dedicate that pole victory and that Poland victory to her. Without her, I don't think I'd be able to achieve that. My aspirations for the season is just to have fun. I don't put as much practice as I'm accustomed to. So any result like this is a bonus. I think there's other guys that train harder than me that will do better than me over the course of a season. I'm just happy to take these results when they come, to be honest. And if I'm in it the last couple of races, then I might change my my mind and maybe give it a real go. But for now, I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, I mean, having a 3-month-old is wild. Mine is 4.5 years old almost now. So yeah, it's the first 6 months are you blink and you don't know what's happened to you. Someone's punched you in the head. So I hope the sleep patterns and everything's going well. It's the best thing ever, having a new child in the world and bringing someone into the world. So congratulations, my friend.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate the broadcast team. Appreciate the media team. You guys do a sound job. And I will catch up with you guys soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Amari.
Take care.
Bye.
One of the nicest guys in GPVWC, that dude. Right, I think we'll wrap it up there. So I'd like trying to run through interviews a little bit quicker this season. If you guys have feedback for that, let me know. But Alex, final thoughts?
Now, yes, genuinely one of the most competitive rounds I think we've ever had in FS2. One of the closest rounds and some of the most exciting racing we've had so far this season. So if we keep on this trend, Australia had great racing, and this round we've had great racing. If we can keep that into Suzuka, it's looking very exciting for FS2.
Absolutely. We're talking about Suzuka. In 2 weeks' time, myself and Alex will be back with Fabian Jungbluth on cameras once again, but you will not miss any GPVWC action if you have anything about you, because Thursday is Formula Sprint 1, next Monday is Academy, And then Tuesday, Super Lights with Thursday, the final part of the Turkey rounds. That will be Super League with Caitlin Penny and Ed Hunter. Keep an eye out for those broadcasts. You can catch them all on YouTube. If you head over to gpvwc.com and you want to get involved in the racing, there's plenty of guides and information on our Discord as well. And on GPVWC website, you will be able to see some of the articles that we've been writing this season so far. I'm enjoying writing them and looking forward to writing one about this round. So do get involved if you can. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Toby Davis. This has been Alex Foulkes.
Bye bye.
And we've been GPVWC. Until the next time, until then, cheers.